social worker. She was living in Clinton. And I just wanted to have an opportunity for her daughter, Penny DePriest, to give you some history about her mother and her program development, and to just to stop and pay tribute to Marge Simberg. There's not going to be a service for her, but I look at this as like our program service for your mother, to recognize her and to tell her daughter here, Penny DePriest, that we're committed to your mother's significant journey in this treatment program, and we're alive and well. And to the extent that you all know this history, it increases the chances that you may embrace it, use it to change your lives, and keep helping people as you struggle with this substance.
I guess we all have a common history. Everyone who is in this room today have a common history. And as we're going through my mother's things this week, we came across all kinds of things, and came across something that she wrote in 1960. And we're not sure why she wrote this, if she wrote it, she was going to college during that time, if she wrote it for a college class. She was involved with the Unitarian Universalists, and they had a kind of a philosophy of what was called humanism. And this was accompanied with a little note from somebody on the Unitarian Church stationery, and it just said, "Thank you, Marge, for sharing this with us." And so I want to start by reading you this, because this kind of says how we all got here today, that these beliefs is why we are all here today. What I believe. I'm most conscious of my belief in human dignity. What this means to me is that every human being has the right to be treated as if he has worth and importance, simply because he is a human being. And that's underlined, simply because he is a human being. And this says he, but he meaning mankind and womankind. He needs no other attribute. This is not contingent upon whether he is moral, respectable, honest, upright, hardworking, or believes in God, the Father, and democracy. It is irrelevant whether he is a banker or crook, poor or rich, junior league or prostitute. This does not mean that I condone certain types of behavior. Some behaviors can be harmful to the person himself and to other people and to society. In these cases, it is an attitude of, I like you, but I don't like what you do. At this point in my life, I am most empathetic and sympathetic to the most disadvantaged in society, economically and socially, but also in the realm of internal and external resources with which to deal with life. I believe in positive, innovative social welfare programs rather than preserving the status quo. Some of the old ways have not worked to make people happier or society better, so why not look for new social inventions? I believe that conditions exist in our culture which breed hatred, hostility, and alienation. And when these erupt in a catastrophic crime, I feel a responsibility for this along with the criminal, even if I do nothing to help change these conditions. If I do nothing to change these conditions. I believe that I am indeed my brother's keeper in this sense. I believe in the search for truth, but not just in the scientific, rational sense. I do believe that knowledge is freedom, but I think great truths sometimes come from the most lowly man who picks cotton, as well as from great philosophers. In trying to set these things down, I think the foregoing comes to me from a deeper belief. Is there God? What is God? I think it's possible that something other than chemical reactions started all of this. But when I think of this planet, space, other universes, infinity. How can I know if I'm infinite by comparison? And it becomes irrelevant. Some people see God in nature, in its beauty or its order. Nature in terms of rocky seacoasts, mountains, quiet streams, or autumn leaves dancing in the wind. These talk to me of beauty, but this is not God. I can get an aesthetic feeling in cities just as well, from hot pavements, from a conglomeration of building tops viewed from a fifth-story window, various shapes, sizes, contrast, colors, even soot, from the different look and smell and feel of the city at different hours of the day, from the feeling of a deserted neighborhood street at 2 a.m. And I believe this is because of the people who are sleeping peacefully there. So I get back to people. Man is a part of nature and has order and beauty, but is man God? Love is God, the power, the strength, the beauty, the humility, the mercy, the justice, the compassion, and internal wealth and happiness of man come from love. I think love, or the ability to love, is the most important thing that all men have in common. And the most important love is man-woman love. Yes, more important than parent-child. If there is adult love, then it will be possible to love children, to love other people, and extend love to all mankind. Of utmost importance in love is love for self. And I want you all to hear this, because it's very important. I'll read it again. Of utmost importance is love for self. But I think it isn't necessary. It's not a necessary prerequisite for other kinds of love, because I think it can follow from being loved. The enhancement of the self-image because of the reflection from another person. I believe that all people start with the potential for encompassing my God love within their being. If they lose it, it may or may not be their fault, and it makes no difference. But the potential should be restored if possible, and the starting point is to love them. And so today I write this. This is what I believe. And when we read this, we said, Mom wrote her own eulogy, because she still believed this to the day she died. I don't know the exact year that this was done, but it had to be probably 72 or 73. But I don't know if this is all the signatures of everybody in the house, but the fourth one from the bottom is Ernest Little. And Ernest Little was our second resident. And he was a great guy, very smart. I was just telling Ron, he graduated from, I think, Northern High School. He graduated, couldn't read or write. Could not read or write. Now, would that not be enough to make it go off the deep end, that here you are a man and you graduated high school and you can't read and write? But he made it. He split one, came back, and when he left Rubicon, he graduated from Rubicon House. He was probably the first graduate that went all the way through the Rubicon House. And he went to work for Odyssey House in New York. And I have a letter here that he wrote to my mother in 1979. And he says, Marge, how do you say I'm sorry for all the years that I did not write or call you? I hope that you don't think too harshly of me. About 4 weeks ago, while in a conversation with Chris Flores, who Ron tells me he knows and is still here, he told me of Al's death. That's my first stepfather. I'm sincerely sorry to hear of this. I always felt that you and Al were the two people that were most instrumental in my rehabilitation. I want you to know that I shall always have the greatest respect, love, and admiration for you and Al. Marge, I hope you're well. Since the last time I saw you, I have worked for Odyssey House as Judy's aide and director of the JES. November of last year, I was married. Her name is Carol, a wonderful woman. I would tell you more about her, but soon I hope she will have the pleasure of meeting you. And then he's Howard Penny and the boys, and they had opened their own company. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but resource specialist company. I'm not sure what that meant exactly, but Ernest did us proud. In 1994, my ex-husband and I and my mother came and we met Ron for the first time. And we walked in off the street. He didn't know we were coming or anything, you know. And my mother's, stayed away. She hasn't, she didn't live here for a long time too, but she was retired and everything. But, we'd like to go see what that's all about. So we just walked in and started talking to Ron. And who was your
John Mann.
John, okay, yeah, John. And he said, we'll take you to the house. It was the Simberg house he took us over to. And we worked where I had worked with my mother there. And he said, there's a group going on. I don't remember if it was all women or not. I think it might have been an all-women's group. And I don't know what level they were at, or I don't remember any of that. But I do remember, I told this to my mother recently, she walked into this room and started talking to these residents like she had known them her whole life. And how you doing? What level you are at? And she connected with, these women were hugging her. She just had that special something that was able to connect with people on whatever level. And I think it was because of this thing that I read, that if you don't love yourself, and if somebody doesn't love themselves, you love them and you pull them in with your love. And they are worthy. You are all worthy of that love. Regardless of where you came from, what you've done, or anything. You are all worthy of it as human beings. And there will be people, just a little help from you, there will be people there to wrap their arms around you and pull you along. Because we've all had people in our lives that have done that. And there's a term now that wasn't around in those days, is pay it forward. And I'm a big believer in that. And whatever help you can give it. Whatever you learn, pass it to somebody else and help them. That's really what this program is all about anyway, right, Ron? Right. It's just getting these people together that will help you.